the Zoom call here. I see Charles Muse. It's great to see your face. Charles, I'm afraid I got somebody else. I can't tell if that's Emily Pearson or who that is. Nodding her head. There's Emily Pearson's iPhone. It's great to see you, Em.
Hey.
How are you doing, Dr. Muse?
Doing well. How about you?
Doing pretty well. We've got more people coming on the call. We had, I want to say about 15 or so. We've got several other faculty that are supposed to show up. So I'm hoping they'll be able to remember some of the names of faculty that Andy was talking about a little bit before my time. So.
Right. Well, it looks like now would be a good time to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Homecoming Virtual 2020. Which is very different, but we are so happy that we have the option to do so and to reunite with everyone in a virtual setting that keeps our campus and our Catawba community safe. I want to let you know this call is being recorded, and we may use this in the future for PR purposes, and we may not. But just as a backup, we are recording this, and we're happy to use the chat box if you guys have questions or comments and someone's talking and you can't get it out yet. So please feel free to use the chat box. But I will go ahead and turn over the event to Dr. Haig.
Well, it's great to see you all. We have some other people that have, now maybe it's just a question of how I'm looking at the screen. That might be the issue that I'm having there. There we go. So I see Justin Potter as well on the call. And we have some additional people that said they were going to be able to participate, a couple more faculty as well. So I'm hoping they'll join us so that you can talk about some of the classes you had with them. But it is great to see you. And I am happy to say that the Ketner School of Business is back in business and back in Ketner Hall. So we have been here since about August, started moving in over the summertime. Kettner Hall, if you aren't familiar, was offline for 2 years for major renovations. They went really through the entire building from the basement up to the ceiling, and it is looking gorgeous. It is the nicest looking building that I've seen. All of the updates and changes that they made to it. We have our computer media lab back in the building, which was located at some distance away during our time of isolation. I'm no longer working out of my former home that the college had bought, so I'm happy about that as well. Let's see, some of the changes that have been made in the Ketner School of Business or in Kettner Hall, the building as a whole. The Health Sciences and Human Performance school moved into the ground floor of Kettner Hall. And so the Department of Education was relocated to the library that many of you would probably remember. And they're doing quite well, but the Health Sciences was growing. They have added a clinical counseling program. They've developed a nursing program. And so they needed more room to grow, and we've got a nursing lab down there and some great facilities for our current students. So there have been a lot of great changes in Kettner Hall. I did want to go ahead. I'd be happy to talk about some of the kinds of things that are going on with the business school right now, and would like to learn a little bit about what is going on for each of you as well, how you're dealing with the COVID crisis. The college here has been doing quite well, as a matter of fact. Over the past year, or beginning in March, when it became a concern, the college put together a strategic task force and developed a series of protocols to keep everyone safe. We are offering our classes face-to-face, online, and hybrid. So we have reduced occupancy in the buildings, reduced occupancy in the classrooms, and that has contributed to a very, very good success. You know, all the students say that they don't want to take their classes online, so we're trying to provide as much face-to-face instruction as we can, but for health reasons, of course, some faculty concerns, some student concerns, we did need to provide some day-to-day online instruction for our students. And I miss seeing the hustle and bustle of all of the faculty here and all of the students on a daily basis, but things are going well. We're going to be ending our semester at Thanksgiving, November 24th. Many smaller colleges have done that so that people can go home for the break, and then we'll start up classes again in late January. So a bit longer break there. But I am definitely hoping and praying for a vaccine. So we'll see how quickly we can get that put together. And the school is doing well in that regard. We also added a new president. David Nelson joined the college in the fall. And so it's been a bit of a struggle for him, but having to deal with the COVID crisis and come on board, but he's got great enthusiasm. He's been engaging in discussion groups around the campus, and he has a lot of great initiatives. It is very good to have him here at Catawba College. I think he's going to be able to do great things for us. One of his initiatives that he established was to address the concerns over the summertime with the death of George Floyd. He wanted the college to take an initiative and begin discussing some of those issues. So he created a task force to develop a group, an interdisciplinary group from across campus, which is called Equity, Diversity, Justice, and Inclusion. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but everybody's calling it by the acronym, the EDGY group. And business faculty are involved in that, and we're going to be doing programming, planning, outreach to the local community, learning exercises for the faculty and the staff, so that we can fully embrace all of the different faculty and students that we have at Catawba College, and make sure that we are able to work together for a better future. So very, very happy to have David Nelson here. I'm sorry, apparently he came on the phone while I was singing his praises. So hope you didn't hear too much of that. But there are just many, many great things that are going on around the campus as a result of that, despite the hardship of COVID. I mentioned the EDGY committee. Now, a couple updates, and I'd like to just go ahead and mention a couple things that the business school is doing right now, a couple of the projects that are underway, and then open it up to conversation. I'm sure that I have other faculty here. Dr. Thompson is on the phone now, so Dr. Thompson can share some of the details about the work that she's doing, and also find out about what our alumni are doing and how they're coping with this COVID circumstance. The only way that we can get through things like this is to come together. So I'm very happy that you have wanted to participate in this event to learn more about the Ketner School of Business and Catawba College. You are always a part of the Catawba family, and we want to do everything that we can to continue to support you and help you as you progress in your careers. So please know that you have many friends in Catawba College and at the Ketner School of Business, and I try to do everything I can for any former student that reaches out to me. And if you need any internships or you're looking to hire somebody, I'd be even happier if you would reach out to me. So I did mention that Kettner Hall has reopened, and it's glorious, if a little underoccupied because of COVID. We have some continuing projects that are going on with IT facilities and Miller Davis as we flesh out the interior of the building, some marketing projects, some branding projects that are going on, some rooms that are still being developed, but all of those are going to pace and looking quite well. One of the major changes, major developments for the Ralph W. Ketner School of Business was the launch in the fall of our first graduate program. The Masters of Business Administration launched with a class, an inaugural class of 10 students. We have 5 of our full-time faculty in the Ketner School of Business that are teaching in that program, 7. And between them, when we were making this proposal to the provost, I asked everybody to tell me how long they had been teaching graduate level classes. Many of us come from other institutions that had graduate programs. So I was very happy to be able to sum up that we have over 90 years of graduate education represented in the Catawba College faculty teaching in the program. So we bring a great deal of expertise. We're very happy for the opportunity to be able to offer graduate education at Catawba College. Of the 10 students that we currently have in the program, that represents a mix of recent graduates who decided to stay with us, some alumni who had already been out in the workforce for some period of time, and then students who had no previous affiliation with Catawba College that found out about us and were interested in our mission to serve and support students in a supportive environment and to get them the best business training that we can deliver. So that program is offered in an online environment. It is organized as a 1-year program with 33 credit hours. And we have the majority of the students are taking that in a full-time capacity. Students can complete the degree essentially in 3 semesters, a summer, winter, or spring, depending upon the semester that they start, either in the fall or the summer. They will graduate then in the spring or in the summertime. So one of the focuses of that program is to provide career counseling and advice to our students. So we are working on requiring them to develop an understanding of what their career goals are and what steps they're taking in their coursework to prepare them for that career path. So the projects that are organized for the classes provide flexibility. So if, for instance, someone wanted to learn more about the banking industry and hope to pursue that as a career, they would focus their projects throughout their classes on that industry. Much like the lesson of Ralph Kettner, we do take a message from him that in order to be successful, you don't just have to have good business skills. You also need to be able to take initiative and a leadership position. And you also have to be in the right place at the right time. You have to be able to understand the industry that you're involved in and be able to see where the opportunities lie. So Ralph Kettner clearly showed that in the development of Food Line, and that is what we want and encourage our students to do. We want them to embrace the challenges in front of them, take initiative, and become leaders in their community. So very, very excited about that opportunity. We've been discussing graduate education in the business school for, I don't know, Dr. Thompson, it has been a while. We came close several other times, and so very, very happy that we were able to do so for the fall of 2020. It's a great program. We do have a new faculty member in the mathematics department, a Dr. Laurel Powell, who is actually an alum of Catawba College. She was an information systems major and just finished her PhD from the University of North Carolina in Charlotte. And she came on board as an assistant professor in computer science. The reorganization of the business school in an attempt to improve our opportunities for growth in data science, data analytics, information systems, computer science. The mathematics department was added to the business school a year ago, and the departments of information systems, mathematics, and computer science were integrated. I think that's allowing us to combine the technical training in mathematics and highly advanced fields with the practical skills and business skills that our students need. So we've got some great opportunities and initiatives in that area. I'm very, very happy to have Dr. Laurel Powell with us. We also have, as a result of that reorganization, some new programs. I'm sure Dr. Thompson will be able to talk a little bit about that, but the BS in Information Systems Technology launched in the fall of 2020. It's already got a large number of students that are pursuing that degree. And we have our sister degree in our evening program, the BS in Information Systems. We have had a couple events this semester. COVID has limited that a little bit. We just had a great, but we did have a virtual event with an alum. We have an alumni speaker series. I know that Emily Pearson has been involved in that in the past. I'm always looking for alumni who would like to come back and share their knowledge and expertise with our current students. But Andrew Chambers, who graduated in 2014, if I remember correctly, 2015, had a background in information systems and has had very rapid success as the result of his engagement in business clubs and community organizations on campus. And he was able to very quickly get a series of promotions. And so it was so good to hear about that and to have him share that. We have another alumni speaker that we've arranged for the spring semester, Elizabeth Renteria, who graduated in 2017. She had an accounting and economics and finance degree. She was immediately picked up by Deloitte to do auditing, and she moved all the way to Australia to pursue that career and is doing quite well in Australia. As a result of COVID, I'm able to have some distance alumni participate in these events, and so she was the first person I thought of that we wouldn't be able to have on campus in any other capacity. So I'm looking forward to having Elizabeth back with us for the spring semester. I have a couple other things that I did want to mention just briefly. The college is going through an innovation process right now. Over the last 2 years, the provost office has organized an APP, an academic prioritization committee. And last year, we went through our programs, evaluated their performance, analyzed how well we were doing, and made some decisions about programs that were not successful, programs that were successful, some strategic decisions. And this year, we are in the process of reviewing innovations. That has been submitted, as I understand, to our president, David Nelson, and the trustees will be reviewing that. We had several from the business school that I think are going to be the next steps that I'm hoping we will want to consider as possibilities. One of those, we have several faculty here who are familiar with our entrepreneurship program. Charles Muse has been involved in that. The Center for Entrepreneurship and Experiential Development recently lost its inaugural director, Dr. Just, who was here for 8 years. She moved on to Illinois. And so we are having the opportunity to reconsider the structure of the Entrepreneurship Center. My hope will be that we will be able to better integrate it with the other service communities across campus and include in entrepreneurship elements of leadership and innovation. As previously organized, it focused on students who had a new business idea or a new product idea. And I think that was great. We had some very, very interesting projects that we supported, but I would like to see that as a broader program that can more fully integrate with some of our other centers across campus, like the Lilly Center and the innovation grants that the college as a whole provides. With the launch of an MBA, we are always interested in considering the development of additional concentrations. With the college's interest in seeing the growth of technical skills, I would like to propose the development of a data science concentration. Dr. Thompson has been very involved in that. And that would be an additional specialization. We will see if we are able to do that. There are a lot of moving parts, but I think it's a great idea and it would allow us to also offer graduate level certificates in a very lucrative and entertaining field. We have a interdisciplinary data analytics minor that we are supporting that is going to integrate classes from across campus. We have support from the sociology, biology, information, environmental sciences, and psychology departments, in addition to the mathematics, computer science, and business fields. So that will be a degree that will be open to any student, an interdisciplinary minor, and require students to learn how statistics are used across intellectual disciplines. That's the key focus there, is that it will be requiring an interdisciplinary application of statistical techniques. And lastly, we were just talking, Andy, you mentioned that you remembered Tim Moorland, Department Chair of Communications. We've seen a number of changes in the Communications Department. Over the past 3 years, we have completely revised the Communications Department. We have 3 young faculty members that have joined us as our other faculty retired. And so we created an integrated marketing communications degree. We have created a digital media production degree. And those fields, I think, in the modern information age are very, very important. They are skills that every person who is working needs to develop, and we have had a great deal of interest and support for that. The next step in that project would be the creation of a multi-camera studio lab, and we are currently reviewing spaces across campus, particularly the Hoke building, for the possible development of a digital media studio that would allow students to learn how to operate studio cameras when there are multiple cameras being used. This is very common in sports, in news broadcasting, in performing arts, and it is my hope that it will be a center that can be used by programs across campus, and that we can also have our faculty and our students involved in serving the departments across campus and all of our athletics and student activities that might need video production. So that's just a brief review of some of the things that are right on the horizon. I think that's an answer. Andy said he wanted to learn a little bit about some of the things that were going on right now. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I'd also like to find out how everybody is dealing with the current situation in their own work. And if you'd like to learn more about any of the programs and developments that I've suggested or mentioned. But it's great to see some faces here, and hope to be able to answer any questions and catch you up on any faculty member you would like to know about, or help you connect with other alumni.
I think now would be a really good time, since I see that President Nelson has joined. Maybe if you would like to say a hello and maybe a few words.
Oh, I'm happy to. And Eric, yeah, I was a bit late. I was getting back from another meeting, but
It's quite all right.
It's wonderful to see you all. And I learned some things during Eric's update that I was glad to know about. I do want to reiterate that academic prioritization process that was started last year is now in a second phase. And I think you'll be glad to know that the Ketner School of Business is figuring prominently in the recommendations in that process. We have had some meetings with the board and have another meeting Friday discussing those proposals. I don't think you'll be surprised to hear the board is quite supportive of the recommendations about Kettner. There's a lot of support there for the business school. And some highlights there. I'm personally very excited about what's happening on the data science, data analytics side, and the work that the faculty are doing also in marketing and digital media. I think these are just prime areas for us to emphasize today, as well as some others. And I know there was a really good meeting a couple of weeks ago about both a studio for music as well as a studio for communications and media in the business school. And so we're busy looking at ways to make those things happen to better serve our student body and the students of the future. I'd also just note that I'm thrilled to be here at Catawba, and we came in the summer and are getting settled here, even in the midst of a pandemic. Everyone has made us feel very welcome, and we're thrilled to be here and to work alongside faculty and staff as we serve the wonderful students that we have here on campus. So I'll leave it at that, but just to say that I know people wonder what it's like on campus, and what it's like is trying to run a college during a pandemic. And there are lots of challenges, but the thing I can really tell you, in fact, I was just talking to a student on the way back from a meeting. They're just so glad to be on campus and to be able to you know, that the personal attention that you get from faculty here, it's really the story of the school. And students missed being in class. And so they're glad to be here and glad to be able to interact with one another and with faculty. And it's encouraging to us, as hard as it is to make this work, to see the students benefiting in the way that they are. And that is a real tribute to the adaptability of our faculty and their willingness to just do what needs to be done in order to take care of the students. So faculty and staff have been really, they've done extraordinary work. So I just want to compliment them on that, and say also that we'll look forward to the time we can do homecoming in person again, and I can get to meet you personally. So I'll leave it at that, but thanks for joining us, and it's really good to see you.
Thank you so much, David Nelson. Yeah, we're very happy to have you here, and very happy for all of the things that are happening, except for one thing, that COVID. So that's the only frustration at this point. I see Emily on the line. How are you doing, Emily?
I am pretty good. I can't complain. Can everybody hear me? Just making sure. Okay, great. I got a little chilly, so I had to run away and go grab a jacket because I don't like to turn the heat on in my house. But I actually was a telecommute employee prior to COVID. So I have my own office and all of my equipment, and my whole team is virtual. So wasn't so much of a change for my team, but I know for a company the size of Wells Fargo, which is who I work for, making that transition for 250,000+ employees, who the majority are based in office locations in the US and globally, was a really, really huge transition, and it's still being worked out. For months, we had technology hurdles. You know, we weren't supposed to share screens in Skype, which is the platform that we were using for meetings. There were so many limitations technology-wise. We were submitting, you know, tickets right and left. We are back to normal for the most part in use of our technology, but we do still hit snags when we have larger meetings, upwards of 100 people, you know. So we very much on technology. And when you shift from having maybe so many thousand people relying on work from home technology to 200,000+ people, there's bound to be issues. So those are some things we had to overcome, but otherwise everything is running or seeming to be running pretty smoothly.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm looking forward to the time that you can come back on campus. I know that you visited several times as a representative of Wells Fargo, supporting the opportunities for internships with our students. And I know that you've had several of them join you at Wells Fargo. So Henry Brunner, did he stay with the organization? Do you know if Henry did?
Yeah, the last I checked, Henry is still working in internal audit.
Okay.
So Brie Howard, or Gabrielle.
Oh yeah, Brie.
She worked in internal audit for a year plus, and she made the transition earlier this year to Ingersoll Rand, which is an excellent company. But yeah, we've had some really great students join for either internships or full-time opportunities. And that's, it's really cool to see that happen. It's a unique experience.
Now you're not working in that area. If I remember correctly, you recently had a promotion, so you moved away from audit and some of the work that you were doing there and lining people up. Is that correct? Do I have that
Correct.
right? Okay.
Correct. So I was managing the early talent programs for internal audit at Wells Fargo. And that was an awesome experience. And I still am very passionate about early talent and talent pipelines. But I am now supporting the commercial bank financial crimes risk program at Wells Fargo. And I support their professional development functions and setting up professional development activities and approval systems and everything for that.
Cool. Well, I know after joining Wells Fargo, I think you got a dog, a house, and a family in fairly quick order.
Couple dogs.
So you seem to be doing quite well. You still got the dogs? Okay. All right.
3 dogs. Yep.
Wonderful. Well,
yes.
I don't know if Dr. Muse has any questions. I see another person on the call, but their screen is muted, so I'm not exactly sure who that is. Andy was the first one on the line, so I got to talk a little bit to Andy. I don't know if Andy's got any other questions, or I see Andrew Chambers, who just gave us an alumni speakers event, and so grateful. There are many students that spoke to me, so thankful for you providing your time and talent to the current generation of students. And I know your involvement with the alumni board and all of the rest of the work. You're staying busy for homecoming, I guess.
Oh, for sure. Excited for this week.
Okay, cool. Are you going to do the golf thing? There's like a virtual golf thing.
Yeah, virtually. I'm not much of a golfer. I always like to help out with the event itself. So I'll be doing what I can from online. But
yeah, my understanding is you're supposed to use a stick to hit that, but it never worked for me.
Me either. That's all I know about it.
Yeah. It's one of my shortcomings trying to serve a business community if you can't play any golf. So if they need somebody to ruin their team, I guess you call it that. I'm not even sure. But their squad, I don't know. Dr. Thompson probably knows more about this. But I'm your man if you want to lose. So in golf. Andy, how are you doing? You said you're over in Arkansas right now?
I'm in Arkansas now. So yeah, I'm with a German company that, and I'm a part of the Market Unit North America. So I'm VP of Sales for Market Unit North America, machinery. So we're in manufacturing, woodworking manufacturing, and in the woodworking industry, it's a very social industry. So this whole COVID event has certainly been different for us, where this industry, because it's kind of I guess the easiest way to put it is it's kind of a good old boys network, and so we're used to doing a lot of things together. We're used to seeing people face to face. We're used to shaking hands, and so this year has been quite the challenge, because the technology that exists for meetings like this, it's not that it's brand new technology, but my industry has never used it. And so we have been forced to pivot to do new things. We are fortunate that the company I work with is considered one of the big four for our industry. But we are the smallest of those big four. So globally, we do about 500 million. And so that's, we're big enough to have some resources to try new things, but we're small enough to be nimble enough to actually try them, because a lot of our industry, it seemed like they didn't know how to. They had too many layers of bureaucracy, I guess, to get through to try anything new, that they just basically stopped. And I think a lot of our industry they've just tried to wait till this year is over. And we weren't in a place where we could do that. So we just tried everything that we possibly could, and got a lot better with virtual, not just virtual meetings. That was actually the easy part, but actually trying to reach our customers virtually and seeing how we could stay in front of them and keep them thinking about us during this time. And actually, I was just talking, I'm actually traveling with my president of North America right now, and we were just having a discussion earlier. We could potentially, by the end of this year, we could actually have equal our best year that we've had in North America this year in the wake of the COVID crisis. And I
Oh my
think it's
gosh.
just, well, I think that, it's just timing. You mentioned before, it's about being in the right place at the right time. For us, it was just deciding not to just wait until 2021. We didn't know exactly what to do, but we just said, well, what we're not going to do is just sit still. So we just tried everything possible. We learned along the way. If something didn't work, we didn't do it again. And then if something did work, we tried to make it better the next time. And yeah, we're on the verge. We don't do a ton. For our industry, we're big, but we do, our best year ever was just over 100 million just in the US. And now we've shifted to market unit North America. So that'd be about 130 million total. And we are actually within striking distance of being able to eclipse that for North America this year. So
Now, is this a private company or publicly traded?
well, it's private, but there's a board of investors. So we're not publicly traded,
Okay.
but there are investors in Europe that are the ownership board. So we have a management board that reports to a supervisory board that's made up of different people in business, but also the owners. There are 5 owners, I believe.
Okay. Do you travel if you're currently in Arkansas but based in North Carolina? Do you travel to Europe much, or is it mostly North American
Not this year.
operations?
So this year I was actually in Germany trying to get home when the first news was coming out in January that because I didn't know anything about the COVID crisis, but I was in Germany when they were showing video of the hospitals going up in 10 days in the Wuhan area of China. And luckily, I got out before there were any kind of a shutdown, because this would have been mid to late January, and in February was when it started to get a little more difficult to travel. So
Yeah, well, we have. Well, I hope you are safe and your family is safe. If you're still out and traveling for a lot of business, that you're practicing all the right protocols.
Yeah, sure.
We have a fair number of international students in business programming at this point, and several international faculty, and it has been a real challenge. With borders closing, with restrictions on when you can come and go. There's students that have been trying to travel to Catawba College, or when they were leaving Catawba College in the spring, sometimes it would be one day they could leave and the next day they couldn't, and they didn't know when they could go. So it's been a great increase in uncertainty for all of us. But I'm glad to hear that your business is taking the initiative that it's found. So
well, we've also been very fortunate, more fortunate than some industries, because if you follow it very much, the woodworking industry was deemed as essential. So yeah, so we've been able to even we don't do much travel to Europe or Asia right now, but it's actually our technicians getting in to support our customers all over North America have actually been able to cross the borders in North America anyway. So, and then travel for me has, if you have traveled recently, you may agree, maybe you don't, but I feel really safe traveling. All of the precautions that the airlines are taking, it's actually, I haven't felt unsafe at any point. So.
That's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. It's a challenge for our students, for our faculty. One of the things that I am happy about, I love traveling. I've gotten to travel a lot in my career and spent several years when I was a younger person living in Europe. But I am kind of happy that I get to teach college. I know where my office is. I get to stay close to home. So I know that a lot of us have hunkered down, and to have a business that's doing well in this environment with very clearly the worst recession that the U.S. has had since the 60s. This is looking to be, and we don't know. I mean, the COVID crisis could end tomorrow, and we could begin to return to normal and open up very quickly. But the current projections, I'm an economist, the current projections are a 6% decline in global global production. So that is about 3 times the size of the great financial crisis of 2008. So there's a lot of real hardship for a number of people out here, and I hope everybody is surviving the best they can, whether they get to commute electronically as Emily does, or if you are traveling, that you are staying safe. It's an unfortunate time, just an increase in uncertainty for everyone. Now, you did mention that you couldn't remember your management faculty member. You graduated in 2010 or 2000. 2000. Right. I don't know if Dr. Thompson was here way back in 2000, but she might have been. She frequently tells me that she's been here forever, and 2000 would fit within that time span. Dr. Thompson, do you remember, Andy is talking about a management, I thought it was Dr. Hyatt was here in 2000, but maybe you remember who was here before that?
Pedro Moscoso, Eric Oldenburg, it would have been Dr. Hyatt.
It's possible that maybe Dr. Hyatt was here and I didn't, or at Catawba, and I didn't have classes with him. I did have classes with Dr. Moorland, like we mentioned before, and I was just thinking Trenchard was the accounting professor that no one liked. That was his name. And, but I actually, I learned a lot in his class.
How about Al Carter?
I'm sorry?
Al Carter. Mr.
Oh, I should have remembered that.
Would you have had Al Carter?
I don't think I had Carter. there was an Asian guy that taught economics.
Oh, SC.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had him. And I'll always remember that the rumor for him was that he had been banned from Atlantic City for being able to, he had some way to never lose on the roulette wheel or something. I don't know exactly what it was.
There were a lot of stories about him.
Yeah. I have heard more than a few of those. So with the Bill Trenchard and the accounting program, I do know that when Mr. Trenchard left the college, he was the last accounting professor in the program, and we had a younger faculty member that was just starting out. I was teaching a large number of classes, much loved fellow named Darren Spencer. And I don't know if that's the time frame when you would have been here, but when Trenchard left, at one point they were considering, hey, they're going to close down accounting at Catawba College. And thankfully they did not, because the accounting program has continued to do very well. We have 2 new faculty in the accounting program, Yan Gibson, who's been here for I want to say 7 years now, and Karen Gaskell, an alum of Catawba College. I think I saw her on the phone earlier, or on the line earlier, and she is a Catawba alum and has come back and is now teaching a large number of the upper division accounting classes. So accounting continues to be very strong here. It's a incredibly important field, as I describe it, the language of business, and if you don't understand accounting, you're going to have trouble in the business world. So very, very happy to continue to see that flourish. Al Carter, who Dr. Thompson just mentioned, only retired, Pam, was it like 5 years ago? 5 years ago?
I think it's been 5 years. Yep. And he taught adjunct for us after that. After he left, he still continued to teach for us. Right.
He was one of the ones who wanted to, faculty members, I think you'll find that if you get the opportunity to teach college, you never want to do anything else. And see you, David. Once you get to teach college, you never really want to do anything else. And once you start teaching, you never want to quit. So we frequently try to hold on as long as we can. So that was definitely the case with Charles, or with Al Carter. So Dr. Muse, how are you doing, sir?
Good, real good. I have a couple of comments and questions for you.
Oh, okay.
I've been teaching for Bremen University, which is part of the Chapman University system in California, online since 2011. And we have students back then we had students all over the world, a lot of military and so forth. In the last couple of years, we've gotten a lot of students, and more so all over the United States. And one thing that has increased our student enrollment is the fact that Walmart is paying tuition for students going back to school.
Oh.
So this last class, I just finished a class. As a matter of fact, it's a new class we started 2 years ago. I was asked to teach this class. It's called Professional and Leadership Ethics. And I'm not sure whether you have a class similar to that. I'm sure you probably didn't. And we ended up with, I ended up with 36 students in this class, again, because it's virtually and students all over the country. And I had about 20 of those students from Walmart, which was kind of interesting. Different levels of management.
Yeah.
But Walmart is paying them to go back and get a degree. So I don't know if that's a market that y'all might be able to look at and draw some students, particularly if it's virtual from anywhere in North Carolina. And the other thing is this course, Professional and Leadership Ethics. Do y'all have a course similar to that?
We do, and Greg Alcorn just chimed in that our chaplain, VP of the college, Ken Clapp, Dr. Clapp, has been serving the business program for a very long period of time, and he is our primary instructor for business ethics. Actually, we run one section of that a year. It is a requirement for our Bachelor of Science Business Administration degree, so he typically has to let a few extra students in order to be able to schedule it. But he really likes the opportunity to meet all of our graduating seniors and teach that class. It is usually that they are seniors or juniors when they take that class, and it's a very important part of the degree. Now, you mentioned another element of, in addition to ethics, leadership. Dr. Hyatt teaches a motivation and leadership class at Catawba College, and we have an entrepreneurship leadership class as well. So those are classes that I think are very important. Some of the suggestions or observations I made previously about our entrepreneurship program with the departure of our director, Dr. Just, we're currently under consideration how we might be able to integrate or develop the entrepreneurship program and the center to include more elements of ethics and leadership. So I'm hoping to find synergy with other organizations on campus. I mentioned the Lilly Center previously. The college as a whole also has an innovations process and proposal process. So that's what I'm hoping to see. One of the areas that I think definitely fit with the message that David Nelson has provided and his vision for Catawba College. And I definitely agree that the college, the country needs business schools that focus on developing ethical leadership, that focus on creating young people who understand their service to the community, that it's not just about going out and making Benjamins, but it is about what we can do for our communities. And so that's one of the innovation proposals I mentioned earlier, and I'm hoping we're going to get traction. It sounded like Mr. Nelson was pretty positive about that one, so I'm pretty happy about that.
I'd like to make one other comment.
Okay.
About a year and a half ago, I was appointed the commander of a brigade in the South Carolina State Guard and became the commander of troops for the State Guard. And starting in March, we have been on alert, active duty, whatever you want to call it, 24/7 ever since that time. One of our responsibilities is to provide security for the South Carolina Joint Operations Center. And it's really taxing our people because a lot of our people, work full time and then they have to take off to do their guard work and so forth. And we've done everything from point of distribution for food and water for a lot of citizens that aren't able to, they don't have the finances to buy food and so forth. We've done a lot of that around the state. We've had some natural disasters. We had a tornado down in the Charleston area during this time. we had to go down and provide disaster relief for that. So we've been extremely busy, and it's still going on. We still have 24-hour responsibility for the Joint Operations Center for 7 days a week. We also provide security and have helped create mobile drive-through testing centers so people can drive through and get tested. So it's really put a strain on everyone, but I think we've been able to help out and to give some relief to your first responders. And another example is Medical University of South Carolina. When this virus started, this pandemic started, they needed to increase their hospital bed numbers. And so they asked us to come down and help them do that. And they needed 12 of our troops to come down. And we sent, I think, 20. And they wanted us to work for about 2 weeks setting up beds in this area that they'd created. And we did all that work in about 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I mean, it's just amazing what volunteers, when things like this happen. And we have a few students from like the University of South Carolina and some of the other universities in South Carolina that are in the Guard. And that's been a godsend also.
Well, I just was talking to one of my students who is active military service. He's been here for 3 years, and he just got called up, so he is leaving in January, and so he's been called up for active service, and I believe it is the Guard for 1 year. So he'll be January to January, and we had an advising session, and it was like, okay, so what's the best stopping point that we can get to so that you can get your classes organized and be ready to start back up in 1 year. He is going to have the opportunity to take some classes online while he is serving. They have an agreement, I want to say, with the University of Phoenix. And so we arranged a series of classes that are going to work for him, made some adjustments to his minor. So really, really appreciate he's anxious about going again, but we really appreciate the service for everybody who is in the armed services that has provided that. It is crucial, and COVID has only made it more apparent to everyone how we need these people who are willing to sacrifice and volunteer and participate in these kinds of activities. So while I'm not your commander-in-chief, I want to thank you for the service that you've provided. We've talked many times about your work, and it's admirable, remarkable, and worthy of recognition. So very, very happy that you've been able to continue that.
Well, and I appreciate that. I'll make one more comment about that. I've had a lot of students that have gone on active duty. I've had some to go to Afghanistan and different parts of the world. And I had a couple of Army students in Afghanistan, and they said there'll be times when we will have to sort of disappear off the screen and won't be able to participate. I said, don't worry about it. Do what you got to do. When you come back online, let me know, and we'll get you caught up. And so they would actually let me know that they had to do something, and they would go on a mission somewhere in Afghanistan. And when they finished, they would come back, and we'd get them back online and get them caught up in the course. But that really helped them, because when they're down, they have a lot of downtime. They really don't have anything to do. So taking the course really helped them out.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping, I appreciate everything the service has done, including the National Guard in Afghanistan. I have heard that it sounds like we might be able to negotiate an agreement for the withdrawal of troops. I know that Jack served in Afghanistan. It's a pretty scary place. So I'm hoping we can get everybody home safe.
Yes, yes. My oldest son is going to Afghanistan in February. So that really brings it to home.
Is he also in the Guard, sir?
He is in the Army. He's active duty Army.
Okay. Well, keep him safe. He has our prayers. Did you have another question? I don't know if anybody else, I've got my screen set up so I can focus on the conversations that are going on, and I don't know if we have anybody else that would like to chime in and talk a little bit about some of the things that they're doing. I see a couple people who've gotten onto the call, and Dr. Melanie, I'm afraid I don't have the full name there. I see Mr. Alcorn. It's very good to see you, sir. Dr. Gaskell's on the line. Anything you'd like to talk about, things that are going on in your life right now, anything that you'd like to learn about the business school, be happy to share that, or try to connect you with some of the faculty who weren't able to join us tonight.
I'd like to say thanks for having this. It's great. It's a nice alternative to not being able to see anybody or do anything. I have to drop, but I just wanted to say thanks before I go.
Thank you. Great to see you, Emily. Good luck with Wells Fargo.
Eric, I thought it was great to see everybody, listen to Andy and all the things that he's got going on, and Charles views on how to address you as far as the military part of it. But thank you for serving and hearing what you're doing as far as teaching and helping the next generation, not only in your family, but your extended family, I bet you would say, and those areas. Makes me proud to be part of Catawba and be part of what you're doing. The extension of that. I think first of all, it was great to see President Nelson on here earlier, and to know who our president is at Catawba. We know that today, right now. So that's a little bit unusual right now. And Eric, please don't ask me the questions that you were asking Andy as far as, who his teachers were and stuff like that. Andy, I graduated in '79. When you're a child of the when you're in school in the '70s, we had a whole different learning model going on. I'm not sure I could, but I'm kidding. But Dr. Millard Wilson and Al Carter and those folks, Michael Baranski was very meaningful to me when got to branch out in the whole liberal arts approach to it. That was terrific and meant a lot to me. Accelerated my interest in becoming a lifelong learner, and it's easy for me to be a lifelong learner because I'm not very smart, so it takes, there's things that could go on that way. And Andrew, the things that you did at AppSeed, at our the nonprofit organization that we started, that you helped start, is something that is a life mission for me, and will continue to be for the next what is it now, 31 and a half years, because I'm going to die when I'm 94.
It's good to have a goal.
You got to write it down. You write it down, and you make it happen. Yeah. The Ketner School of Business, Ralph Kettner was a mentor of mine. I still quote him all the time. He it's funny how I was embarrassed when the abbreviation or acronym of the Ketner School of Business is KSOB, and he liked that. So I thought that was pretty cool that it wasn't something that you'd have that would go wrong. But the Ketner School of Business has an advisory board, or a board that is being formed, that I hope people like all of you that are on this phone, you just take a potential interest in that, because the goal, I don't know if I'm sorry I came in late, but the goal is to really, there's potential or opportunity or capacity for, y'all know the number, but dozens and dozens of extra students in that program. It deserves to be. It's got great legs to it, and keep an eye on that. That might be some way, if you want to give back to Catawba, you can be on that board or advisory committee, or stay interested. I'm very interested in it, and am invested in it, and want to continue to be part of that. But I live here in Salisbury. and really think the world of it, and want to make sure that Catawba optimizes the fantastic resources that it has already, so I can deal with that.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to hear a lot of that, and to have you on the call as an alum. Very, very happy for everything that you've done for Catawba College over the years. I know you've been a great advocate and supporter with the business school and the entrepreneurship program in particular. I do want to thank you as well. Greg served as the keynote speaker several years ago. I guess it was only 2 years ago now, for a business advisory board and business honors induction ceremony, and enjoyed it a great deal. I think the students really learned from you and got some great insight from your presentation. It was a very valuable thing. Now, over the COVID times, we haven't been doing a lot of outreach as much as we would have liked. The Business Advisory Board last year, when it was in action, we had about 30 members involved. My focus had been on people in the immediate community, although we had interested parties from around the nation that received the information about what we were doing. One of my goals has been for the business school to develop its community connection so that we could be taking or turning the community into an extension of the classroom. The business school has long had a history of experiential learning as a requirement and internship activity. We've done a great job with that. We end up with about 60 internships an academic year as a result of that program. And many of those, like in the case of Emily Pearson, who just got off the call, those opportunities for internships turn into opportunities for a career. And she's doing exceptionally well in North Charlotte now. This year, we have not done as much, clearly, with COVID. I've been thinking about having an event like a speaker's event that would be virtual, and hoping that we might be able to do something like that in the spring on a couple different subjects. So I look forward to talking to members of the Business Advisory Board or anybody who's interested in giving back to the business school about what some of those options might be. In addition to experiential learning, we have had some success with project-based learning, where we've been asking faculty to participate in company projects associated with local businesses. In the 2019-2020 year, we had about 20 of those, so that a faculty member teaching their class would have a series of companies that they were working with. I know that working with Downtown Salisbury Incorporated, the largest demand was for marketing and marketing plans and marketing development, but we saw others in information systems, some survey work that was done by some communication students. So I'm really hoping that COVID will leave us alone so that we can get back to making those more secure connections. A lot of our students right now are struggling to find internships in an online environment. So that has been a real challenge for us as we continue to deliver the programs that we have. I did want to mention, in addition to Andy's activities with AppSeed, you've had some other internships, I know, with entrepreneurship. Not sure, I was talking to Dr. Just, were you working with somebody now or had provided some advising to someone recently in the entrepreneurship program? Was that something you'd been doing, Greg?
Whoa, let me think. We hired Shelby Davis, and
Okay.
she's been terrific.
That's who I was thinking of.
With us. Lachia Fang is working with
that's
us.
right.
Yeah, she's been working for us a year, and she plans to come back next semester to
Perfect.
finish up. And she's helping a lot in database management and data analysis. Andrew for for AppSeed, and then also for our sometimes for-profit company, GCS. In the nonprofit, she's working with a database that's kind of a stripped down Salesforce.com that's called Zoho, and she's got her master's degree in that before she gets her undergraduate from Catawba, but she's doing a terrific job there. But we're, I've said it for probably 10 years now that, if you've got Catawba College on your resume, it's an automatic interview with GCS and AppSeed. And we've got 1,000 employees, and a lot of things going on in New York City and North Carolina, South Carolina, and things like that. So, Andy, we're not in Arkansas, but or California, those places, but we want to be, and could look for things there. So, if there's something we could figure out how to do to help some of the struggling internships in Salisbury and beyond, then I'd love to be able to help explore that.
Well, I appreciate everything that you've done for the business school over the many years. I've not been involved in administration for the business school for very long, and I know you've been very active for the entire time that I've been serving, and I know that extends for a much longer time. You have given a great deal back to Catawba College. We are looking one of the innovations in the area of entrepreneurship, reconfiguring or rethinking about how the entrepreneurship program has run in the past with the departure of our director for that program in the fall. It's an opportunity for us, and I wouldn't mind having the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about that and get some insights from you about how that might develop. Since you mentioned Mr. Kettner and the lessons of Mr. Kettner, I did want to share one of the projects that I've been working on. I'm a great fan of understanding industry and how industry evolves. I've mainly focused in my own research on the evolution of supply chains. And so when I came to Catawba College and learned that I would be serving in the Ketner School of Business and that I would actually get to meet Ralph Kettner, it was really a dream come true because as I learned more about Ralph Kettner from the books that were written and from personal conversations, the dude is a perfect example of my own research. So it was like a chapter out of my dissertation to learn more about the evolution of the food line industry, food town and food line. So one of the things that I had hoped to do, and we are completing that project, was to have Charles. Great to see you, sir. Thank you so much for your service, and as always, your support for the Ketner School of Business.
Thank you. It's good to see everybody.
Good to see you too, sir. Well, one of the projects that I was working on was I realized that both of the books written about Ralph Kettner were out of print. Downtown Press had published Lion's Share, written by Salisbury reporter Mark Winecka and his co-author's name, Jason Leslie. And then Mr. Kettner as well wrote a book with the support of Mark Winecka called 5 Fast Pennies. And reading over those, I wish I were a better accountant because so many of the innovations that he applied fit, as I pointed out, directly with my dissertation on economies of speed in industry. So I was like, well, how can we get these back in print? And so I began shopping around. I talked to the authors, I talked to the publishers of the books, and they were all completely on board. The Ketner family, Robert and Linda, supported it. So we got a contract with Rutledge. And we have signed all the paperwork, working with the lawyer, Drew Davis. We had Robert Monath, who is legal counsel to Catawba College, has been involved in writing book contracts before. So we got him looped in. And what we did is we accumulated all of the copyrights and associated with those books and got them transferred to Catawba College. So any royalties, we don't see a great deal of money from something like that. Mark Win-Eka. It's a hard one for me. I screw it up every time. Mark always corrects me.
I know. It's Winnica.
Yeah. So that is, we've gotten the contract signed with Rutledge, and that is a British press. They are internationally recognized. They are a subgroup of Taylor and Francis, which is the premier academic publisher in the social sciences. And so the Rutledge Revival Series, and I was hoping to have all of this ready for a Kettner Hall rededication, and then COVID happened. So we haven't had a Kettner Hall rededication, but I'm looking forward to having that when it's possible, and having the authors come back. Mark, as well as Jason, said he could come back. Linda said that she would like to come back for a rededication ceremony. So the Rutledge Revival Series is kind of unique. It is only available for first print editions that have never been republished. So, and the purpose behind the Rutledge Revival Series is they are a part of the library, a new library subscription. So when a new library is built, Taylor and Francis works with that library, and the deal that they make for a libraries full of books includes the Rutledge Revival Series. So we're going to have the opportunity to have Ralph Kettner's works about his company and about his legacy and about Foodtown in libraries internationally as a result of this project. So I'm very, very happy. They've already, done the copy edit, so it's all ready to go. We signed the contracts about a month ago, and now it's just time to sit back and wait for the royalties to start showing up. Again, never expect much royalties. I have published a few books as well, and I'm afraid if I tried to retire off of that, I could have a cup of coffee every month or two. But very, very happy to have that, and very, very grateful for that legacy of work that we're going to be able to share. More people should understand that history and that lesson. So very, very happy to have Ralph Kettner's works back in print again. And as long as they're with the Rutledge Revival Series, they will continue. There's not a question of it being dropped. So I don't know if we have some other things on the call. I think
Who is Dr. Melanie?
Dr. Melanie, I saw the name.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Melanie. How are you doing?
Good.
Great to
How
see
are
you.
What's your background there?
So I graduated from the Ketner School of Business in 2004 from Catawba. And then I went on to Elon University to pursue my MBA. And then I was working for a while, and somehow I ended up at the University of Miami and just graduated with my PhD in international studies. And and I just thought it would be a great way to network with homecoming and everything. And I would like to keep my ties with, the Ketner School of Business. I currently teach at the University of Miami, but it's part-time. So I'm also kind of open for other opportunities and maybe go back into the business world or teaching, or I'm kind of open for other teaching opportunities, especially now with the online opportunities going on and being remote. So,
Well, I look forward to following up after our alumni meeting here and making a contact and being able to spend some time talking to you directly about that. You said your field is in international relations. Is that right? Is that what you're doing your PhD in?
Right. That's what my PhD was in. But, due to having my business background as well, I always feel I'm sort of in between those two in a way. And
Absolutely. That's wonderful. And it looks beautiful and sunny where you are.
yeah, it's just my virtual background, but yes, usually it's like that.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, we would love to talk about the kinds of classes that you have taught, what your interests are going forward. And so I really look forward to following up with that conversation one-on-one. Maybe
Yes, I would love that.
the end of the week or next week would work well for me.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, perfect.
How do you
now,
say your last name? How do you say your last name?
Mine?
Mhm.
Gorgmeyer. Just leave out the E.
Okay.
Gorgmeyer, is that a maybe German? I don't know. Gorgmeyer.
Yeah, it's originally German, yes.
Yeah. Well, now 2004, do you remember some of your faculty from that time?
I do. I actually remember Dr. Thompson, even though I never took a class with her, but I saw her around, and I was a student of Dr. Andrew Morris, who's now at California State, I think, and Dr. Slate, Jamie Slate.
Yep,
and,
he's still here.
Oh yeah, I heard. I've seen him at homecoming a few years back, so it was good to reconnect. And then I remember some other faculty, but I think some of them might have retired already.
Yeah. Well, I teach economics as well as Dr. Slate, so we've worked together for a long time. Actually, we both came from University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I knew Dr. Slate before coming to Catawba College, so I have probably a 30-year history with Dr. Slate. Didn't know some of the other faculty that you mentioned, but glad to hear that you enjoyed your classes and the education here. You do get to come back to homecoming occasionally?
Yeah, I went quite a few times since I graduated, and the last time I came was 3 years ago.
Okay.
And Dr. Slade would sometimes organize these socials at the tailgating, and so.
I could see that happen.
Did you meet Ralph Kettner when you were here?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Did you
he gave
go
lectures about Food Line and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
He might not remember me, but I remember him.
Did you go up to his office? Or because I used to go up to his office and just pour out all my financials and all my problems at work and stuff like that, and he would just narrow it down and boil it down to say, here's what I would do. He would never should on me. He'd never tell me what to do, but he would say, here's what he would tell a story about what he did at Food Town and Food Line, and how stock beat everybody, beat Microsoft, beat Intel, beat all this things like that. But and he never took a whole bunch of stock, so he could have been a $20 billion heir, but he didn't take the stocks, and it was just a great story. But it was great that he would take time for everybody, wouldn't he? I mean, you would go up there and get a chance to talk to him.
Yes, I didn't have that kind of relationship that you had, but I had, he gave a lecture in one of our classes, and actually one of my professors, Dr. Andrew Morris, he kind of introduced us to him. And so I have been to his office. I remember the office being pretty big and nice.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the time that I got to spend with Mr. Kettner. I'm going to say he passed 5 years ago, but he came back to work. He was working up until the last year, and came back a couple times right before he passed, just to come and check on everybody. And he was a great spirit. I really appreciated my time with him.
I told you how old I'm going to be when I die, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
94.
94. Okay.
That's how old Ralph Kettner was when he died.
Well, we look forward to continuing to have your interest and engagement with the business school and Catawba College as long as Mr. Kettner did. So
away in 2016. And Eric, I just wanted to mention, in fact, you're one of the stars in this. The Lessons in Leadership, those of you that are here, if you have not seen Lessons in Leadership, it's really the story of Food Line and Mr. Ralph Kettner, and that was produced by the Ketner Business School and Food Line. And it's on YouTube. If you just do a search on Lessons in Leadership, I'll try to see if I can get the link. It's about 50 minutes, and it's just wonderful. It's the story of Food Line, Catawba College, Salisbury, and it's just it's Mr. Kettner's story. And it's just a wonderful way to be close to him again, in his absence. But yeah, he died in 2016, and he certainly mentored me through many projects. He was a wonderful man.
I'd like to get another print run of those videos so that we could share that with a rededication of Kettner Hall. That plus the new versions of the books was one of the things I was thinking about. So I reached out to Cheryl, but Food Line is the one that owns the video, as I understand it. I don't think they'd have a problem with it. It's just been a little difficult finding the right person to give me the approval to do it.
Christy Phillips Brown, but I'll follow up with you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I was going to post that in the chat, but Andrew beat me to it. He got it in there. So feel free to visit that link, anyone who's joining us and on this call and is interested in that. But Greg, you mentioned Chia Vang earlier, and I wanted to say that as a student, we got to work together a lot in some of our classes and just the internships that we did. And even though they weren't the same internship, I still got to work with her in different departments. And I just wanted to see if you could convey or pass along a message that I hope she's doing well, and I would love to reconnect with her soon.
I missed it. Who? With who?
Chia Vang.
Oh yeah, she's a superstar for us. I will. I'll tell her tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks, Savannah, for all the things you're doing as far as, particularly for editing some of the videos that you sent out in the last for homecoming. I'm very appreciative of that. Yes, you do terrific work.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we wanted to make this still memorable and really, if you couldn't physically be here, then you could be here in your heart and you could be here in conversation. And we wanted to do it safely, and we wanted to make sure that everybody had a chance to come to something and participate. So that was the goal.
And Eric, if I could mention, while we're on the topic of internships, I wanted to just mention the intern that we have now that has a close connection to Greg, something that you have been a part of. You were generous in a gift for the Digital Maker Lab, and where we have augmented and virtual reality equipment. And a student, we've got that class, augmented and virtual reality, built into our new BSIST degree, Information Systems and Technology. We've got 59 students now across all the technology degrees, and that's the largest component. I think that AR/VR class, supported by your digital makerspace and the equipment there, is one of the big draws to the program. But one of the students did an independent study before we could offer the class in the spring. He did it this semester, Justin Gray, and he is actually working with Walser Technologies, and they have a virtual reality project going on. There's going to be a story coming out on this. This is one of the unique stories, one of the unique things that Catawba can offer students. But he is actually working with virtual reality equipment, and Walser Technologies has a contract to work with police all over the country with virtual reality training for active shooter training. And so our student is involved with that. And it's just such a great story. And we hope that we'll continue having some projects with Walser Technologies. But Greg, thanks to you. I mean, you don't know this, but you really kind of started that push to get augmented and virtual reality to Catawba with that gift, and then putting the class in the program. So thank you. And thank you, Andrew. I've got to say thank you for your great talk just the other week. That was awesome. It really was.
Pam, what is the, not to get too much into the nitty gritty of academics here, but what is the course number for that AR/VR class?
I think that's 3902.
3902.
Got that right? Yeah, it's pretty new, but I think it's 3902. I'll double check and make sure that's right. But that is a very popular class next semester. We're starting it for the first time next semester, and we're having to get creative with our use of the virtual reality equipment with COVID.
Right.
I'll be working on that over the holiday time to see how we're going to do that.
I'm hoping that it might be possible to include that in the interdisciplinary minor.
Yes. Do you want me to talk about the interdisciplinary minor briefly?
I did bring that up earlier as one of the things that we're working on. I have gotten in touch with the different departments that would like to participate. So I've gotten approval for the inclusion of classes from sociology, psychology, environmental sciences. They have a GSI class that's going to work for that. Biology as well has a research methods and statistics class that they teach. So I talked to Jay Boland. And then clearly the mathematics introduction to statistics we would want to include, business data analytics. And I was looking for another class, and that's what I thought was the AR/VR would be a really good one. Maybe not.
Well, we're following and developing that minor. We're following guidelines from the American Statistical Association and also the Association of Computing Machinery. So we've got learning outcomes. We've got to choose, 6 to 7 classes. And I think that in the department, in fact, you've got email on this today. We're looking at a set of, about, let's see, 4 or 5 core classes, and then 2 electives that can make that interdisciplinary component of the major. But those guidelines, those learning outcomes from the American Statistical Association for data science, and the very recent, we've got to hit those marks. And I feel like we're going to be able to do that with a programming class, data mining, data visualization, statistics, and a database class. Those are the basic 5, and then we'll have the options for the others. And that AR/VR might be, but when you think about data, the AR/VR, we'd have to figure out some way to get the data from that and use the data in terms of, working with what we do with that.
Yeah, I do remember those requirements for majors in data science, trying to figure out how we can do this interdisciplinary without adding a large number of additional classes. I do think there's going to be an opportunity to move forward with the development of a BS in data science. I don't know if that's going to be something we're going to be able to do right now, but that's definitely the goal. And I do want to see that more fully fleshed out. I think the interdisciplinary minor would be better to focus on, what's involved. And we got some pretty strong, when we said we were going to develop an interdisciplinary minor in data analytics, I do have to say that our colleagues across campus felt very strongly about what needed to be included in that degree. So
I'll be interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
We already know what we want to have in the degree, and we thought we'd have 2 classes, for electives. It's going to be a great thing for Catawba. It really is.
I definitely agree.
Looking forward to working with the departments.
Yeah. Now, Justin, I don't know if Justin, have we gotten to answer any of your questions or anything you'd like to share about what's going on right now with COVID or things for you?
You'll have to excuse my appearance. I just got done with a workout.
That's okay.
Hop back on for a few minutes.
Yeah.
No, I got to start working back in February. I started working in private accounting as a partner accountant with Ferguson Enterprises. And some really great opportunities opened, and I ended up managing to get on with Ernst & Young. So I've been with Ernst & Young for about a month now, working on wealth and asset management clients, and absolutely loving it.
Wonderful.
Get a bit of experience working remote for a little bit with Ferguson, so now I'm adapted to it with EY, and they actually said that we're going to be fully remote until July. So it's definitely a pretty big change.
Yeah. Now, where are you located? Are you in Charlotte or where? I didn't hear.
So I'll actually be working out of the Tyson's Corner office. It's a suburb of DC.
Okay.
But since we're remote, I decided to spend a few months down in Florida.
There you go.
I think it's 74 degrees outside, so I'm pretty content with that.
We've got 2 people. Maybe we need to get your screen from Dr. Gorgmeyer back on yours as well. But glad you're enjoying the weather down there. I hope you're staying safe with your travels. Has COVID disrupted? You mentioned that you were doing more work online, but everything else is going okay?
Yeah, overall everything's pretty good. it definitely is a big change for the work environment. You know, public accounting is one where you're often in the client's office and, you know, having to deal with a bunch of work papers and meetings. So it's been a lot of adjustments to figure it out, but EY has said they're confident they can do a fully virtual busy season. And, you know, it's making a lot of employers rethink how they're doing things, rethink some of the cost. So overall, it's working out pretty good.
Okay, good to hear that. Now, are you going to be involved in a couple other alumni events over homecoming?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to try to get involved as much as I can. Work is a little bit busy right now because we just wrapped up a quarter filing for the company, but I'm going to try to do as much as I can.
Yeah, and you are our youngest alum, I think, on the call. So we've had a couple other people on earlier that have dropped off, but you know, I'm familiar with you and I've seen you around campus. So I hope everything is going well. Glad to hear that you got out of Gaskell's classes okay. She's not smiling very much. I don't see a smile there from, she doesn't move around very much. But there we are. Glad to hear that all that turned out okay. I know that was a little bit of a touch and go situation there for a while, but you pulled it out. And Dr. Gibson, did you have classes with Professor Gibson as well?
I did, yeah, both.
Okay.
Actually, it was Dr. Spencer, Professor Gibson, and Professor Gaskell all.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Spencer has moved on. I guess he left in fall of 2019, I want to say. Has it just been a year, Pam, that Darren has been gone? Is it just 2 years? 2 years, 2 years. Fall of 2018. So it has been a little while. Does that sound right? I don't know. Karen maybe remembers. I want to say it was last summer.
I'm having trouble unmuting myself, and I have this horrid background. I wish I had the one that Dr. Melanie has, but anyway, I think it was fall of 19. We're in our second year without it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fall of 19. Dustin, interesting to hear that you're with EY.
Yeah, it was just an interesting series of events happened, and you know, I met the right connections because I think I'm honestly one of the only people at EY that doesn't have a master's degree, but I can still sit for the CPA because I have 160 some credits, so it worked out right.
Awesome.
Oh, we have another student who graduated under that idea of getting more than 150 hours from accounting, Shannon Morton. And she's been involved a bit as an alum. She's come back. She's been involved still with the Student Managed Investment Fund. She's spoken to them a couple times and came back and gave a talk, I want to say, about accounting. Did Shannon come and talk to your class, Dr. Gaskell? Yeah, and she ended up, she sat for the CPA, got it, and is with, I want to say she stayed in Greensboro. Robertson, Bernard Robinson?
BRC.
Yep. I was going to ask Justin if you'd already gotten your CPA, so if you had to do a MAC or anything like that, but that's wonderful news. So great job.
I was studying for it, and it certainly is a beast to take on, but it'll be well worth it when it's all said and done.
Absolutely, you can slay it. And Ernst & Young will give you plenty of resources. So
yes, that has been one of the biggest blessings. Is they gave us full access to the Becker course at no cost to us. So
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
That has been a huge help and an asset in studying for it.
Well, you might have a couple accounting faculty that you could have on speed dial as well, you know, like where you get you're able to call out and touch a friend or something like that. I can't remember exactly how that works, but maybe not touch, that doesn't sound right. So, you know, phone call or whatever. I can't remember how that story goes, but that's great news. Now, did you do an internship with Ernst & Young? I can't remember.
I did not. So my internships were actually with Krispy Kreme. I was working in the corporate office there in Winston-Salem for a bit.
Okay.
and just one thing led to another, one door opened, and I did private accounting for about 7 months and then made it into public. So I've got to see a lot and do a lot so far.
Yeah, right place at right time. That's a very important lesson for the business world, isn't it, Andrew? Yeah, Andrew's had a great success just recently. So moving into a new position, and it's been very quick for you, Andrew.
Started at Lowe's Hardware right out of school. I think I took a week off in between school and starting there, and I was there for about 3 years, and then moved to Lowe's Foods in February, and just recently promoted last month to a management position, managing their website. So it's been a crazy ride.
Well, I wish that we had maybe some more. I don't know if it would be useful in your area, Andrew, but one of the things that we've been hoping to do with the communications field, now this is not necessarily relevant for Justin, but helping students develop, layout, design skills, because so many businesses now almost expect this generation to be able to whip out an ad or anything like that. So I'm hoping that we can see that COM program develop and connect some of those classes up for our business students. The integrated marketing communications degree has been popular for that. So, well, Justin, when do you go back to DC?
So we don't have to go to DC anytime before July.
Okay.
That was a recent decision. Since DC is one of the larger offices, they're definitely taking a little bit more time trying to open that one up, because we work with some pretty large clients out of there. So they're very hesitant and cautious to make sure they're taking care of the well-being of the employees.
Well, we're trying to do that here at Catawba College too. It's been, for me, I like seeing the people around. I like seeing all of the students. I like having full classes. And right now, under the COVID protocols, we have limited class sizes. So even though I've got like 20 students in my upper division money and banking class, it's 25, I'm only seeing like 10 of those at a time. So the class lectures are broken up, and you don't get as much dialogue going on. So, but we're doing what we can to stay safe. I don't know if we'll have an end to this anytime soon. I think some predicted that it would go away, I guess, yesterday. But that doesn't seem to have happened yet. But maybe it'll fade away. So I hope. So now, let's see, Dr. Gorgmeyer, I was going to follow up with you. I had some things, I guess, Pam, I'll see Pam regularly, so we'll have opportunity to talk about lessons in leadership and some of the other things. I don't know, I did want to thank, see you, Justin. Great to see you. I did want to thank Andrew again for the work that he did with the alumni success, alumni story. I think that went very, very well. The students that I spoke to afterwards really enjoyed it. And as a virtual event, we had great turnout. I mean, it was very, very successful. Know that a lot of students learned from your presentation. So I look forward to, now that we've got you hooked with the alumni board, and we've got our claws back in you, even after you've graduated, we'll be sure to make constant use of you. You should anticipate having assignments on a monthly basis for Catawba. All right. That's what I like to hear. And we'll get you involved in the business advisory board too, as we move forward with some of those projects.
Yeah, really love to learn more about that.
Okay, great. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has anything. Dr. Gaskell, I didn't get to talk about some of the stuff that's going on for you now. I know that you're working on a project, I seem to think. There's something going on in your life. I'm trying to remember what that was. I know you've had some recent additions to the family. Is that right?
Well, yes, we have 2 granddaughters and 1 on the way. So that's exciting. And I've got that little report I'm trying to write.
You've got a school report.
Yeah, it's a little dissertation thing.
It's something to work on.
That's right. In my
Yeah.
spare time.
In your spare time. Well, you guys, Dr. Thompson taught in the MBA last semester, right? Are you doing it right now? You're in the MBA program right now, Pam, and Karen. What?
I'm teaching the second 8-week block.
You're teaching the second 8-week block, and Karen just finished up the first 8-week block.
Mhm.
Everything seemed to go okay. We had, I know that, the students were definitely challenged.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, there's always things you'll do differently next time. But I thought it was a good run. It's a good cohort of students.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're getting to know each other and working together well. It was a lot right out of the gate with the workload that they had.
Mhm.
Yeah, we sort of front loaded that degree. So the first 8-week block, Andrew, we actually had the students taking 3 classes in order to be able to get to 11 courses, 33 credit hours in 1 year. They were going to have one block that had 3 classes in it. And so, in my infinite wisdom, I thought that, and the faculty agreed, let's go ahead and punish them a whole lot right at the beginning. And that way, when they finish and they feel good about that, let's get them while they're fresh, right? And so they would then feel like, hey, they accomplished that, and then get a bit of a relief, so that they would then be taking 2 classes at a time for the rest of the program. And almost all of them said that was a good thing, that if they had taken 2, then jumping into 3 would have been like, but I know that they're happier to have a 33% reduction in their course load. For all of us who have tried to work on graduate school while doing other obligations, it is a challenge. And so you really have to stay motivated and directed. Andrew, even though you're working full time, you've got a great job and everything. Have you considered? Has that been a part of anything you've thought about? Now, Dr. Gorgmeyer is just finishing her PhD. You're in a chat session here with 4 PhDs.
That is definitely something I've thought about. I haven't gotten the chance to look into it just yet. It's been a busy couple of years, but that is definitely something I want to pursue.
It's some time. I mean, it's not a bad idea. As you continue to move up the ladder with your additional promotions, that is one of the things that they'll be looking at. So, and with the support of Lowe's, I'm sure that they would be willing to provide you with support. A lot of corporations will do that for you as you're pursuing your degree, particularly if it's a specific training, a master's level training program like an MBA, that you're going to be getting the specific skills. I don't know of too many corporations that have provided support for a doctorate in linguistics, or French history, but there might be some out there. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't found any. So thinking of picking up my second doctorate if I could just get Catawba to pay for it, but so far they've been unwilling to bite. Maybe I would go to fewer committee meetings if I was working on another dissertation, right? They wouldn't have to see me and ask all my questions if they would just give me a little support for that next doctorate. So good luck with the idea of pursuing graduate education. It's definitely something to put in the hopper, not anything you have to pursue right now. I'm sure you're working huge hours anyway.
Yeah, COVID has been a crazy deal for the grocery business. It's over doubled, if not tripled. It's been a crazy few months.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. And what's kind of surprising for me is just sort of the time compression. This is just from March. So I think that increase in the level of uncertainty just sort of makes time seem like it's gone by, like it was started 3 years ago or something.
Right. Yeah. Lowe's Foods to go, the pickup service went from about 4% of the business before COVID, and we're now averaging 10 to 11% of the company's sales.
I think you're in a good place. You're in a good place, Andrew. That's a good thing. I look forward to reading your book.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I don't know. We're just about out of time, and I don't know. We've gotten to talk to everybody here, and I hope everybody has gotten to learn a little bit more about what's going on with the Ketner School of Business, as well as connect with some people from some different graduation years. Look forward to the opportunity to continue our community and continue to reach out to each other and find ways that we can help each other as we pursue our careers. Catawba, as Dr. Thompson has made me realize, Catawba is a community, and being a part of this community means that you are always a part of the community, and all you have to do is to reach out and find the people who can support you and help you, and you will find comfort in that. And in such uncertain times, I think we all need to do more of that. I know working for Catawba, doing a lot of the different things I've done, I'm pretty much a linear thinker. I'm sure Dr. Thompson and Dr. Gaskell can affirm that in their interactions with me, that once I get my thoughts onto something, I have a hard time getting thinking about anything else. I get sort of tunnel vision. It's the only way I've been able to finish anything in life. It's also known as ADHD. And but COVID has caused me to realize that the people that you live with, your family and your community can be here and be gone in an instant. And even though you see the same person every day, as I have with my wife for the last 25 years, and get frustrated that they never close the lid on the garage or the garbage can, I don't know what I would do without her or without the people that are in my life. I'm very, very thankful to continue to have my mother and father, although they're in Tennessee and in seclusion. And I've never been good. I get tied up and I get focused on my current day. And I'm not a good son. I don't call my mother every day. And she goes, oh, who is that? Who is that on the phone? When I do call, you're Eric. I don't know if I remember an Eric. So taking the time right now with COVID, I think it has caused all of us to understand how important the people around us are. And I hope you are doing the right things to bring your people close and to remain safe in these times. And we know that Catawba will try to do everything we can for you, and hope that everyone is staying safe. So, Dr. Thompson, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Got some other things that are going on, or?
No, we've got PBL officers in place. We're the third largest chapter. We've entered the pen design contest for the first time ever.
Oh, wonderful.
I'll have to send you the pen design so you can see that.
That's exciting.
It is, yeah. And PBL is Phi Beta Lambda. We're the largest business organization for high school and college students. And Catawba has a very active chapter. Andrew was an officer in the chapter. But we've had a good start. Despite COVID, we've had a good start to the semester. And so the students are enjoying the activities and are getting settled into their new roles.
I'm trying to remember who the president was, and now I can see her face, but I can't remember her name.
Jade Brooks.
Jade Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had her in class for, I want to say, experiential learning. She's a treasure.
Yeah, she is. She's great. Yeah, we've got a good group. Almost as good as Andrew's group. Almost.
Almost second, maybe second or third. It's hard to beat that.
It really was hard to beat that group.
So
thank you. Thank you all. It's great to meet you. And help at the School of Business.
Yeah. Dr. Gorgmeyer, I look forward to being able to connect with you. I don't know if the list of people that are participating. If I've got that from Savannah, do I have the details of how to get in touch with her? Because I'll just shoot her an email if I've got that information.
If it's not already on that Excel sheet, we can certainly get that information to
Okay,
you.
I think you're the one that keeps track of everybody at Catawba College, as I recall.
Well, I'm trying.
You're doing a good job.
She does,
too.
and she does a great job at it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I've really been happy to see all of the things, and I was a little skeptical about an online homecoming. I have to say, not to be a naysayer, but I was like, because I'd love to see everybody face to face. We've had some great events in the School of Business. Dr. Thompson and Dr. Slate both organized chili cook-offs, a couple things like that, that were great fun events. And I can't wait to all get back on campus so that we can have some more activities like that, and maybe go to a tailgate party. Maybe, if we're allowed to. I don't know. Are we allowed to do that anymore? Did they tell us that we can't do that anymore?
Tailgating, I don't think it's something we can do right now, but we can certainly plan for later.
Maybe
and
in the future.
I apologize for the background roars. My nephews are here.
That's wonderful. I like hearing it. My daughter is grown up now, and so thinking about how fast it changes and how fast they grow up, it just is a complete surprise. So sound of children doesn't bother me. If you've got an elderly person who just screams every once in a while, that's a little irritating. But so
thank you all very much for joining today. This was a wonderful event, and we're super happy to have everybody that joined. And we hope that we can continue having more events that will later lead to in-person events, and maybe give us some ideas for future in-person events as well. So thank you all for joining us today. And I'll let Dr. Haig wrap up some last remarks.
All I'm going to say is thank you very much, Savannah, for putting all this together.
Sure, not a problem.
Big shout out to Savannah.
Really you.
You've done a great job. Yeah, and it's great to see everybody that was on the call earlier, and great to see the ones that are still here. Look forward to reaching out and getting in touch with you, Dr. Gorgmeyer.
Yes, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Goodbye.